Ladies and gentlemen, this podcast is scheduled for one fall and is for the Professional Wrestling Almanac Championship. Making his way to the ring, residing in Norco, California, weighing in at Who the Hell Knows. He is the Professional Wrestling Almanac Podcast's sexiest man, over 350 pounds, Mike Mayer. And his opponent, residing in Salt Lake City, Utah, weighing in at a spinal injury-assisted 265 pounds. He is the Havoc of the Pro Wrestling Almanac Podcast, Tristan Hathaway. All right, guys, welcome back. Another week of Pro Wrestling Almanac Podcast. I'm Mike. Tristan.
That's my name. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I know it's early. We're doing this early in the morning.
Yeah, and because Mike's a slacker.
Yeah, I'm a slacker that I had to do like massive house cleaning because we are we completely
later in the day
because I was building her bed and it took 4 hours.
Slacker. That's just because you can't bend over and pick things up.
Oh no,
that's
no.
Me.
This was literally my dad and I. This bed is so damn complicated in the amount of parts.
6-year-old a bed that takes 4 hours to put together for two people that know how to put things together.
It's a loft bed. So it's just it's
I can do that in 4 hours myself.
Okay.
Why didn't you buy it at IKEA, loser?
I wanted it to last. So, all right, guys.
Mike,
what was that?
Did you watch the Royal Rumble, Mike?
When did I watch the Royal Rumble?
Friday, right before
Friday.
Yes, slacker.
That is true.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Mr. Perfect a surprise entrance?
To me, it was back when that happened because I didn't watch.
Yes, you did. You watched it at my house.
Did I?
Yeah.
I could have sworn I totally did not, but okay. So, hold on a second. Yeah, what's up? Hey. Yeah, I'm doing something right now.
Dude.
Recording my podcast with Tristan. All right.
Tell your mom I said hi.
Tristan says hello. She says hello. All right, yeah, I'll call you when we're done. Bye.
I knew it had to be your mother.
It was.
Because, I don't know why Lisa would be calling you right now. If she's probably sleeping.
She's in bed.
Yeah. And I
Taylor would just barge through the door.
Yeah, and I figured it had to be somebody I knew, or you would have said my friend and not Tristan.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking.
You were thinking. So
yeah.
Got a good show in for you guys. Hopefully you guys like it. I think we got some good topics. So we're gonna get started right now. So go ahead, Tristan.
Round 1. Fight. Oh, you're gonna make me do this? I have to pull this up on my phone. Give me a sec.
Slacker.
You do yours.
Slacker. No. I'm waiting on you. You get to go first.
Okay. Okay, so how about we'll do a potential Hall of Fame inductees?
Okay. I already think we know one who's going in this year.
Yeah, Bam Bam Bigelow.
Bam Bigelow is definitely.
He was very heavily rumored for last year, and then suddenly wasn't. They put in Jeff Jarrett when we were expecting Bam Bam Bigelow. Not that Jarrett wasn't deserving.
Well, who went in last year? Is the
Goldberg?
Wrestler?
Oh, the deceased wrestler. I don't know that there was.
I thought they did.
No, because it was no. I can tell you exactly who got inducted last year. Was the Dudley Boys, Goldberg, Hillbilly Jim, Mark Henry, Jeff Jarrett, and Ivory. That's everyone that was inducted last year.
Okay.
The only reason I know that is because I've been doing the Sporkle quizzes, and I did that Hall of Fame quiz like 500 times because I wanted to get 100% on it.
That's true. Oh, and the celebrity. The
celebrity inductee was Kid Rock.
Nothing is funnier, truthfully, than looking at the poster for that Hall of Fame, and you got Goldberg dead center, and then right behind him is Kid Rock. It's pretty priceless.
So there's been talk. One of them was it was a link to Chair Shot, but it was on our page, and there was heavy discussion on it about Lex Luger getting inducted.
I think so.
I don't know that that's a rumor, but I think Lex Luger is deserving of going into the Hall of Fame. I mean, if Jeff Jarrett and Koko Beware and Rikishi are.
Well, and that's the problem. I think in the early days, there were so many people that were let into the Hall of Fame that by today's standards, you wouldn't consider a quote unquote Hall of Fame career. I
mean, he's a multi-time world champion.
Oh, no. I'm not saying Luger. I'm talking more on like the Koko Beware side, because like you were saying, someone like Koko Beware, I think the problem is now is that a lot of people are sitting here going, what is the criteria for the Hall of Fame?
So I would have to say, like people say, oh, it's just who Vince McMahon wants to be in. But I would have to say that the main criteria for the WWE Hall of Fame has to be a truly successful career. And if that is the case of the criteria being a truly successful career, and it doesn't have to be in the WWE, because Harley Race, Abdullah the Butcher, Dusty Rhodes, Carlos Colon, Mil Mascaras, these are all people, amongst others, that include Nick Bockwinkel, the Rock and Roll Express, Vern Gagne, for crying out loud, all people that had careers that were mostly outside the WWF with WWE, with the exception of Abdullah the Butcher, who was never in the WWE. Did not have one match. Mil Mascaras, I'm watching the 70s All-Star Wrestling and house shows right now, and Mil Mascaras was all over those things.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos Colon was in the 1993 Royal Rumble, amongst others.
Mm-hmm.
Not other Royal Rumbles, other shows. And so, just quick thought. Do you have a timer going? Because I don't.
I don't either.
Oh, oops. So, we'll just talk until we get tired of it. How about that?
Okay.
So, I think the criteria has to just be a truly successful career. And you have to be willing to accept it, because with it becomes something of a Legends contract. That's part of the deal.
That is true.
I mean, and so they get people in there. That's why Jeff Jarrett's been did other things on the WWE Network immediately following the Hall of Fame induction. He did the Table for Three. He did a few other things. He was on the Edge and Christian show, and that show does totally reek of awesomeness. If you're not watching it, you should be. So in that aspect, the one person that people always deride as being not Hall of Fame worthy is very Hall of Fame worthy, because Koko Beware had an absolutely successful career.
Mm-hmm.
The guy, he didn't win any titles in the WWF, but this guy was all over the Mid-South independent wrestling scene in the early 80s. It was Mid-South Bill Watts. I think Mid-South.
Yeah, Mid-South was Bill Watts.
I'm pretty sure that's where he was Mid-South. And he was in the WWF for a lot of years. Mm-hmm. Had a lot of success. He lived mostly in that jobber to the stars realm, but the fact is the guy was over like crazy, and wrestled on multiple WrestleManias, multiple pay-per-views, and had quite a long career that personally I do think is Hall of Fame worthy. I just think he is the absolute line. Like if you want to start talking Hall of Fame level people, you've got your Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker. I know he's not in yet. Kane, Goldberg, Kurt Angle, Hulk Hogan. Well, down here at the absolute opposite end of the spectrum is Koko Beware. Above him, you have the Godfather, Rikishi, etc.
Well, if at that point, then I mean, I think if we're talking about just a successful career, um, let's get the white elephant, or not the white elephants. Let's just get the elephant out of the room. Of course,
Yeah.
we're both going to agree that Owen and China need to be in the
Well,
Hall of
okay,
Fame.
China, absolutely. And Owen, absolutely. But it's not that easy, especially, again, you forget my second criteria. You have to accept the Hall of Fame induction. Now, if Owen Hart was retired instead of dead, he absolutely would accept a Hall of Fame induction. I'm getting attacked by a Rottweiler.
Mm-hmm.
He would. But unfortunately for us, the decision is not his to make.
It's not.
It's his widow's. It's Martha Hart's decision, or whatever she goes by now.
Yeah.
It's her decision, and or until his children can make that decision, and then it's their decision.
Mm-hmm.
And they absolutely could do a Hall of Fame induction without her blessing. They would just be open to a lot of scrutiny and a potential lawsuit.
I think the best way they could get away with doing it is if the WWE
Hart Foundation.
Well, the Hart Foundation or just the Hart family.
Yeah, well, okay, so I think that ship has sailed because they've already inducted Brett and Stu separately.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that the best way to do that would be to induct the Hart Foundation. Now, that is honestly, I mean, they could induct the Hart family, but that would be weird. It's not like the Four Horsemen that were a separate stable. Dude, that's disgusting. We're on video. It's not like inducting the Four Horsemen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean.
It's inducting the family. And inducting the Hart family, considering you still have members wrestling actively in places other than the WWE, is not something that they're going to do. And I mean, who do you induct? Do you induct Natalia? Do you induct Tyson Kidd? Do you induct?
Yeah, I mean, it would basically, I think, going more with the Hart Foundation and doing an induction of basically Brett, Davey Boy, Owen, and Neidhart.
And Pillman.
Now,
let me tell you something. The British Bulldog needs to be inducted.
Oh, he totally does.
He absolutely does.
So does Tyson Kidd, though, too. Not Tyson Kidd, Dynamite Kid.
Dynamite Kid, yes. But the Dynamite Kid, and that's where the Four Horsemen induction may have actually caused a lot of problems. So if they're inducting stables, there are a lot of stables that are induction worthy. DX, NWO, Evolution, just by virtue of all the
Rockers,
what everyone has succeeded.
Well, exactly.
And, the tag teams has long been a thing. And the Rockers, like, I think the threshold for stables and tag teams needs to be much higher.
Yeah.
And I don't know that the Rockers make it.
Another one. The Nation definitely would need to go in as a stable.
Yes. Now here's the thing about that is that DX is easy.
DX is easy. NWO is easy.
No, the NWO is hard. The NWO is hard induction to do. Round 2. Fight.
All right, guys. So for our second round, we're going to be going over the new, fresh, upstart wrestling organization that everybody's talking about. We're going to be talking about Women of Wrestling.
Oh, these guys.
Yeah, girls.
Shut up.
So,
I don't really, honestly, I don't know a whole lot about it.
Okay,
I know it's on AXS.
It is on AXS. It debuted Friday night.
Yeah.
I have not had a chance to watch it. But what I can tell you is that this organization is not per se new. I mean, it was founded back in 2000. Mm-hmm. I remember them watching them. I'm trying to remember if it was public access TV at the time. Like,
I'm sure they were on Channel 13.
I'm thinking they were too. Yeah, because I remember them wrestling out of
KCOP.
KCOP. They were wrestling out of the Forum. The creator
I thought that
of
was Glow.
no Glow didn't wrestle out of the Forum, if I remember.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Now David McLean is the creator of WoW, and he actually was the founder of Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling.
Interesting.
So he still owns, he still owns the organization. They've had many incarnations throughout the years, starting in 2000 to 2001, and then basically it kind of just sat dormant from about 2001 to 2012.
In the same time frame, there was a magazine called WoW, World of Wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah, just a funny little thing that caused a little confusion amongst a few people.
So what I find interesting is that now this one, here's another interesting fact when it comes to WoW. It's also co-owned by Jeannie Buss.
Why is that name?
Jeannie Buss is Jerry Buss's daughter. She's the owner of the Lakers.
Thank you.
So to me, this is kind of huge because we're gonna have another
two wrestling companies owned by Sports Legacies.
Well, there's that, but what I'm saying is that this is starting to become a very good time to be a wrestling fan.
Well, and here's the only thing that concerns me about this is you talk about it being a good time to be a wrestling fan. I think it's more a good time to be a wrestler.
Well, that too.
Let me elaborate.
Go ahead.
These companies are popping up all over the place, and that's good. And they're getting these TV deals, which brings money into the pockets of the wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not. I mean, you have more options as a wrestling fan, but I think that is just a symptom of or a product of the fact that we are in a media explosion, because we have, if you've got satellite or even cable now, you've got 957,000 channels that you can choose from. Like you can, and then there's Netflix, there's Hulu, there's soon to be Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, HBO Go, HBO whatever. HBO Now is the one I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
That have these endless streams of content that, I mean, and I mean, it all started with Netflix. So it really all started with YouTube, but it all started with Netflix, with the whole streaming renaissance, if you will. I guess renaissance isn't the right word, but
yeah.
I have a tendency to use words that don't mean what I'm saying they do mean. So, like fledgling, but here's the problem that I see as far as wrestling fans is there's no guarantee of good content.
No.
The idea of competition bringing out the best in other people is very true. Late 90s TV was phenomenal when, because NBC owned primetime.
Yes.
With their TV comedies. But
even their dramas, you throw in the West Wing. I mean, that ran
and
forever.
And you also had NYPD Blue, and you had the ABC had good shows. Fox stepped up in 2000, but Fox even had The Simpsons and King of the Hill.
But to me, I still think right now we're seeing better television now than we did back then because of the cable providers. I mean, if you look at some of my all-time favorite shows, Sons of Anarchy,
Mm-hmm.
Justified,
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad,
That's Justified. Good.
Mad Men.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in a golden age of
well, and then the Netflix shows with Black Mirror and
those
Stranger Things.
Even
Ozark.
Glow.
Ozark is phenomenal. And so the thing is like your upstart companies are going to be providing good content for sure, because they want to get eyes on them, and hopefully they have better leadership than TNA did, and as far as being able to provide good content.
Well,
so but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to pull an audience.
Well, so one of the articles that I was reading, and I'm going to go back and I'm definitely going to watch the first episode this week. But basically, your top 2 stars as of right now in WoW Wrestling are Santana Garrett.
Yep, who's a Mae Young Classic.
Who's a Mae Young Classic. Her father is TNT Kenny G, so she's a second generation wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
She's the current champion for WoW,
and she's fantastic. She really is. The fact that she didn't get offered a WWE contract, she's been on NXT. She's been all over NXT because she lives in Tampa or Orlando, mm-hmm. And so.
And then for me, who I think is probably one of, if not the best female wrestlers in the business that does not work for the WWE, Tessa Blanchard.
Oh yeah, Tessa Blanchard is incredible.
She's wrestling for WoW as well.
To have grown up under the learning tree that she grew up under. I mean, her father is Tully Blanchard, and her stepfather is Magnum TA. Who, let's be real, were it not for his injury, would have been the biggest star in the NWA in the 80s, and possibly brought the NWA to the level of the WWF. If Magnum TA had not gotten hurt, it is entirely possible. I would say entirely reasonable to believe that Jim Crockett Promotions would have never been sold to Ted Turner.
No,
and we may have never had the Monday Night Wars that
is true.
Who knows what would have happened?
So here's one of the reviews. It basically says, even if you're not familiar with the history of Women of Wrestling or the show's connection to Glow, there's no denying that the entertaining hour of television they put together this week, from start to finish, every single moment helped bring fans in and showed us that WoW will be moving forward.
Can I just say that, have you noticed that all of the most successful shows right now are an hour? Wrestling shows?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I get where, the ratings are still huge for Raw and SmackDown.
Ratings in perspective to today.
Well, exactly. I mean, Jim Ross has always said that if you got the ratings that the XFL got back in the day,
we've talked about this,
would be worth millions of dollars in today's market. Yeah, billions of dollars even. So, content is king. People want to watch. But yes, I think these shows that are an hour, NXT, what they're saying now for WoW.
Ring of Honor, WoW. Even the New Japan runs on AXS.
Mm-hmm.
Run an hour.
And
it's so funny because the parallels between WWE and WCW are very, very stark. Like, they're there. And it's said that Vince does not want to do the third hour of Raw. He thinks it's too much. Mm-hmm. Eric Bischoff has come out saying that, one, he never wanted to do coverage.
Round 3. Fight!
So this past week has been really, really big on the a lot of talent potentially asking for releases from WWE and wanting to go to AEW. What do you think about this, Mike?
I think it was inevitable. I think the roster for the WWE is extremely bloated.
Oh,
I I think that unfortunately, even with the brand split, that there are wrestlers who are not getting any television time whatsoever. Um, and because of that, I mean, I can go so far as to say they're being completely misused as the fact that there's nothing for them to do. I mean, talk whether or not you like them or not. I still to this day, the one thing I give um, Vince Russo credit for is when he says that it is our job to make sure you have something.
I have never. That's one thing. Like I have my own thoughts on the talent issue as far as people asking for releases and whatnot. But I 100% agree with that. I do not understand how the release under the terms of we creative has nothing for you. It is the wrestler's job to wrestle. It is creative's job to creative.
Exactly.
And if they're not doing their job, why is it the wrestler that gets fired?
Well,
It's
and see,
insane.
now I can understand. To me, it's a catch-22. Yes, you're right. If we don't have creative for you, we can release you. But if we don't have creative for you and you don't like what's going on and you ask to be released, we're going to hold your contract. I mean, I understand the whole honoring your contract thing. I do. But at a certain point, you know,
Yeah, because we had this whole discussion about Neville.
yes. And so, I mean, the fact of the matter is that if they're not using you and you're an independent contractor, you should be able to leave.
Well, okay, but the WWE contracts are structured in such a way that yes, you are an independent contractor, but you are giving exclusive control of your bookings to WWE.
I get it, and that is
Which is
where
why you've got guys in NXT going and working for Evolve, and why even though WWE did not own OVW back in the day,
yeah.
they didn't own FCW back in the day, they didn't own Deep South, Heartland Championship. They still sent WWF, WWE guys to those companies.
But here's my thing: if you are controlling my booking and I can only work for you or where you tell me to work, how am I an independent contractor at that point? I'm not.
I mean, talk to the courts on that one, dude. This independent contractor thing has been tested in court several times. Most recently by Raven and Mike Sanders and somebody else. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Remember who the third party of that was. The courts were just like, sorry, like it holds up.
Yeah.
And
I just think we're looking at a point now where, there are so many people on that roster that it's inevitable people are going to want to release. I mean, could you just imagine how bad it would be if there wasn't a brand split right now?
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
When TNA started up, we'll say got their TV deal on Spike, or when they really started up.
Oh yeah.
Other than Christian, who left when his contract expired, how many people really jumped from WWE to TNA, even though it was looking like it was going to be a big deal?
Not that many.
Especially once Dixie Carter got in and they had the backing of a billionaire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A conglomerate.
Yeah, being Bob Carter. But I think that 90% of this is pure speculation on the part of people that are believed to be being misused. Whether they are or not is not, they are believed to be being misused. AEW is starting up, and people are, the Revival's being misused. They're gonna go. Oh, look, Maria and Mike Kanellis have asked for their releases, even though Maria has vehemently denied.
Vehemently.
Yeah.
Vehemently.
Leave me alone.
I am gonna buy you a thesaurus.
No, honestly, I don't think I've ever actually heard anyone say that word. I think I've only ever seen that word written. So shut that up. Vehemently denied that that they've asked for their releases.
Yeah.
And now, it's the annual is Dolph Ziggler's leaving the WWE party again. Now there's actually a little more fuel to that one, being that he's changed his name to Nick Nemeth back on Twitter.
And he opened up a pro wrestling t-shirt.
Right. And so it's entirely possible that the WWE gave him the okay to do that for him while he was doing his comedy tour.
Supposedly, though, from what I was reading about that one, is that they were not happy about the pro wrestling tees.
Oh, I haven't heard anything about that.
So,
but his contract is up on February 1st. So again, I don't see people abandoning the this isn't abandoning the Titanic here.
No,
this would be abandoning a fleet of Carnival cruise ships. You know what I mean?
I do not think we're going to see a massive talent jump like we did back in the day when wrestlers were leaving the WWF to go to WCW.
Right. No, I don't think that we will. And I think that, not yet. I don't think anything's going to really start happening until we get closer to Memorial Day, until contracts start expiring.
Yep.
And WWE is not going to be granting any releases. I mean, that's insane to think of. And nor should they. They don't. Just because you are unhappy with your spot, the Revival, they're on TV every week. Just because they're unhappy with their spot, that they think that they should be in a better position, one, that's not their decision to make, number one. And number two, that is not a cause to be released from a contract. It's not just, this isn't just some job that you can quit. You signed a contract to perform the job for a specific amount of time. And I'll tell you the main reason why the Revival is in the position that they're in is because they can't stay healthy. They keep getting hurt. And when they first made their debut, freaking Dash Wilder gets hurt. Then Scott Dawson gets hurt.
Yeah.
So, they've both been hurt since they've been moved up to the main roster. They were probably going to be in a pretty prominent position given how they got brought up. And as part of the initial draft, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And they have... Vince McMahon is notorious for punishing repeat injuries.
Yeah.
And so because it's unreliable. Now, can you really blame somebody for getting hurt? In certain cases, yes. In other cases, no. It is wrestling. It is physical sport. Things happen. But if you're somebody who's consistently getting hurt, that kind of lends to you possibly being an unsafe worker and thus being unreliable. Doesn't matter how great your matches are. If you keep getting hurt, you cannot be put into a position where you're walking around with a championship, where the company is relying on you to go out week in and week out and put on shows. Now, I think a big part of the blame lies on WWE themselves for not having any kind of an off season, or maybe.
Round 4. Fight!
All right, guys. So for the last round, with everything leading up to the Royal Rumble next week, I thought it would be a good idea for Tristan and I to talk about who we believe are some of the greatest wrestlers to have never won the Royal Rumble. So go ahead,
Well, I
Tristan.
can tell you what your first pick is going to be.
Damn straight.
Absolutely, Virgil.
Oh, of course. I mean,
Perfect, Kurt Hennig.
hands down.
And I totally agree. Here there's a few issues with people that could have won the Royal Rumble and didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And it all comes down to timing.
Yes.
1995, I think the British Bulldog may have been a good choice to win the Royal Rumble, especially but we had a face champion.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very, very you had to be like the megastars of the company to be in a face versus face match. And if you look, you had Hogan Warrior, and then you didn't have another one until Brett Michaels.
Yeah.
No, not Brett Michaels. Brett Shawn.
Brett Shawn. I didn't know Poison started wrestling.
Poison, right?
Yeah.
That was a reference to off-camera stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, and then you didn't have another one until WrestleMania 17 with Austin and The Rock. And so they were very few and far between. Vince doesn't like to do them. And so I don't blame him, but like if let's just hypothetically say that.
Oh, and really quick. And for the premise of Royal Rumbles,
mm-hmm.
I am only counting the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, not the greatest Royal Rumbles that were broadcast on Raw or.
So China should be on the list then. I'm just kidding.
So that just to preface that.
I think that was implicit.
I just wanted to make it clear.
Yeah.
So
so Mr. Perfect, I think that the only time that they could have done it would have been 1993 to face Flair.
Yes.
And but yeah, he definitely fits on the list. But Davey Boy Smith.
Davey Boy Smith is another that I think should have won a Royal Rumble.
He is at this point probably the top star to never have won any kind of a world championship.
Yeah.
Because Kurt Hennig was AWA champion.
Yes. Another wrestler that I think should have won a Royal Rumble but did not, and surprisingly, was CM Punk.
Yeah. That's all timing.
I know.
I mean, CM Punk did win 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I think it's safe to say Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan really should have won the 2014 Royal Rumble over Batista.
Yes.
And so, but I think that, believe it or not, and I'm gonna get some flack for this one, and it's only in the context of storyline.
Okay.
I've discussed this a few times. Given the storyline that was going on in CM Punk's championship reign near the end, I honestly think that the person that should have won the 2013 Royal Rumble is Ryback and beaten CM Punk at WrestleMania. Because given how the storyline was going, Ryback was hugely over, and it would have been a huge reaction had he won, and it would have been the logical conclusion to the storyline between CM Punk and Ryback. And the alternative that ended up happening with The Rock taking the title from CM Punk and then facing John Cena for the championship and John Cena winning the Royal Rumble facing The Rock at WrestleMania. That match didn't need the championship. Yeah. If anything, John Cena wanting his rematch against The Rock could have just cost The Rock the match against CM Punk. And then The Rock turns around and costs John Cena the Royal Rumble. Or John Cena being upset that The Rock beat him at WrestleMania, comes out and costs The Rock the championship, and then The Rock costs John Cena the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
And so I just feel like, don't get me wrong, I do not feel that Ryback is one of the greatest superstars to have never won a Royal Rumble.
Well, obviously you haven't talked to him because he's thinks he's the greatest superstar ever to wrestle.
But I just feel that given how the storylines were progressing at the time, that that Ryback should have won the 2013 Royal Rumble and taken the title from CM Punk at WrestleMania.
Okay. Here's a question I have. Out of all 31, or actually no, this will be the 31st coming up. Or is it 30? No, 32nd Royal Rumble. 32nd. Sorry.
Despite what they tried to teach us with the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania, that was actually not the 25th anniversary, just the 25th.
Who's the worst Royal Rumble winner ever?
Okay, ever? Because you got so the Alberto Del Rio. But
get out of my head.
That only holds true if you're talking about Royal Rumble winners to challenge the champion.
Yes.
Because from 88 until 92, that was not that didn't happen.
Yes.
And so, you could definitely say Jim Duggan or Big John Studd.
Or Big John Studd.
That were not in a position equal to the position that stars are in today that win the Royal Rumble. And I think that Alberto Del Rio is only the worst in retrospect because of how his career wound up going. You could also argue Sheamus.
That was going to be my second one.
And there's been a few that weren't tremendous, but like Lex Luger. I mean, but again, logical conclusion. To be quite honest with you, Bret Hart should not have been a Royal Rumble winner in 1994. It should have been exclusively Lex Luger.
Yeah.
And by having that whole co-winner thing, it completely cut the nuts off of Lex Luger.
Yeah.
But once Bret Hart won Superstar of the Year in a legitimate fan vote, probably the last time that Vince didn't rig a fan vote.
Yeah.
Vince was like, well, holy crap, I guess we need to bring Bret Hart back into the title scene.
Yeah.
But Lex Luger could have and probably should have won the championship from Yokozuna at WrestleMania.
I agree. Now here's one
same with Ryback.
And with this, because this is kind of there's only a handful of wrestlers I think that we both agree on to have never won the Rumble. Here's a trivia question for you.
Okay.
Since
you've done this.
It has. In the previous 31 Royal Rumble pay-per-views, how many times has a non-Royal Rumble match been the main event?
Not many. I think the first time that happened was 96 when with Bret Hart and The Undertaker.
Okay.
Shawn Michaels and Sid was not the main event. Let's see. I can't tell you exactly, but I'm gonna say it's within one number of 5. It's either 4-6.
It's pretty impressive.
What is it?
It is 6.
Mm-hmm.
It is 6. Actually, the very first one was not 1996.
Wait, hang on then. How could it? Oh, well, obviously 88, but that wasn't a pay-per-view.
Still, it was the first.
Yeah, 80. Okay, so 88, but that was not a pay-per-view.
Okay.
And you did say Royal Rumble pay-per-view.
That's true. Okay, so that one was
Granted, I legit missed that.
Yeah. On this day in professional wrestling. All right, guys. So for this day in wrestling history, we decided to go
on this day in professional wrestling. You're the one who did the voiceover, damn it.
So, with that being said, I picked the January 20th, 2002 Royal Rumble out of the Phillips Arena in Atlanta, Georgia.
Now I know that I'm jumping the gun a little bit here. And okay. I know that I kind of caught you off guard by saying that this is one of the best Royal Rumbles ever. But was I wrong?
This is actually my
retrospect.
No. This is going back on my list of Royal Rumbles. This is actually my number 2.
Has it been the whole time?
Yes. Always has. It's just
so it caught you off guard by me saying.
Yes, it caught me off guard
because for me the second best Royal Rumble was 2004.
Okay. Nice. And see, for me, my favorite is 92.
Well, everyone's favorite is 92. It's the best one, but I don't understand how 2002, other than maybe the return of Mr. Perfect, I don't understand how 2002 could go ahead of last year's Royal Rumble.
The reason for me, I was going to wait until we actually got to the Royal Rumble match to discuss it, but
okay, well then let's
okay,
go ahead and wait.
So let's do that then.
I am going to pull the card up, and we'll just do a quick rundown of the card.
Yeah.
Because I don't trust you to pull it up from our website. And so I'm going to pull it up from our website because you're a jackass. And you pull it up from, I don't even know what, Cage Match or something.
No, just Wikipedia.
Oh, you son of a bitch. I have the results on the page that are exactly how you would want them. But so first match on the card. Tag team championship match. The champions Taz and Spike Dudley versus the Dudley Boys. Taz and Spike won when Taz forced Devon to submit to the Taz mission. That match was 5 minutes, 6 seconds. Then we had William Regal beating Edge via pinfall thanks to the power of the punch.
Oh, yes.
Which was a fantastic gimmick. To win the Intercontinental Championship in 9 minutes, 45 seconds. Then Trish Stratus, before she learned how to wrestle, beat Jazz, who really was phenomenal. She was between her and Molly Holly, they were my 2 favorite women on the roster, and those 2 would fit very well in today's roster. But she beat her by pinfall to retain the women's championship, 3 minutes, 43 seconds. Ric Flair beat Vince McMahon in a street fight. That match was fantastic. Yes, I remember it being amazing on first viewing, and it is equally amazing to watch 2 50-plus-year-old men
beat the ever-living crap out
of each other. And
the second greatest line of that pay-per-view, by the way, was in that match.
Which was?
Where Ric Flair doesn't even have enough places for the amount of muscles Vince McMahon has.
He did not say that. He said Vince McMahon has
more muscles.
That Ric Flair doesn't even have places.
That's right.
And for the record, Jerry Lawler has used that line numerous times, mostly when talking about Batista.
Yeah.
But so yeah, Ric Flair beat Vince McMahon via pinfall with that frickin' pipe, man. If that thing wasn't made out of rubber, even if it was made out of rubber, I mean, I know it was, but even if it was made out of rubber, that hurt.
Oh.
That's a freaking blackjack, dude.
The fact that you got 2, over 50 guys getting color in a match.
Oh yeah.
That was one of the longer matches on the card.
It was 14 minutes 55 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was We had a Reed Flair cameo, and
it's always weird seeing Reed. I don't know why.
Maybe because he holds a win over Eric Bischoff.
That he just kind of has that look on his face of a flounder every time you saw him. I mean, just
especially the last time.
Well, I was going to say dead stare, but okay.
Well, flounder, dead fish, whatever. That's kind of where I was going with it, but
Yeah.
And then we had the undisputed WWF champion Chris Jericho beating The Rock via pinfall in 18 minutes 48 seconds. One thing about that match, or we'll just talk about it when we get there. Mm-hmm. And then I think that this was the one of the times that non-Austin or Rock, that the probably the first time since the that it wasn't the biggest star in the company at the time, where it was a foregone conclusion that this guy was going to win the Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. And it was one of the first injury return wins, followed up by Cena, Edge, etc.
Yeah.
And so Triple H won the Royal Rumble match to go on to face Chris Jericho in the wrong main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And so let's go ahead and jump right into the card, talking about the tag team championship. It was a surprise win for Spike and Taz when they won on Raw. I think they won on Raw.
Yeah.
And Spike was wrestling this match in a neck brace because the Dudleys are awful.
By the way, that pancake that he took from the Dudleys that he hit face first was brutal.
How that man is a teacher, I will never know. How that man is not a drooling invalid astounds me. And it's so funny that even though they changed his character enough that he wasn't a crack baby anymore like he was at ECW. I mean, let's be dude.
I know.
His finisher was the acid drop. And he was not Spike Dudley. He was Little Spike Dudley.
Yes.
Or LSD. Jim Ross consistently referred to him as Little Spike Dudley throughout that match.
Yes.
Which is much better than Brother Runt in TNA.
Really quick, by the way, I hands down, that is still to this day my favorite incarnation of the tag team titles.
Oh yeah, no, I know that.
Hands down.
To be honest, I don't hate the penny. I like the fact that it's not gold. I like, I am okay with the penny belt, and I never liked that belt.
Yeah. I think that is the classic.
I've always thought that belt was gaudy. I didn't think it was a good design. The one you like. I don't like the oval globe. With the red world in the middle. There's too much going on.
And I think that is still the best belt there is. I mean, the penny is just, I've never liked that one. What do you think of the new women's one, by the way?
Oh, I think that's the best belt that they have on the main roster. I think it's better than the Intercontinental belt, to be honest with you.
You shut your mouth.
In design. The Intercontinental belt is classic.
Yeah.
Right? But
I still think the best title
the North American.
Yeah, hands down, I think the North American is the best belt they have.
But this match was quick and to the point. It was I think one of my greatest regrets of the WWF is
we never got to see a topless Stacy Keibler.
No, because there really wasn't a whole lot of top to her. But
you know what, Jerry? That's all we heard out of Jerry. I don't even think Jerry was watching the match.
The Stacy Keibler just getting into the ring, that was enough for me. But no, the fact that they didn't know how to book Taz.
Yeah.
Like, Paul Heyman booked 5'7" Taz so well that when he went against Bam Bam freaking Bigelow, Bigelow was the underdog.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I mean, that he is one of those hands down, I would consider most underutilized wrestlers in the WWE.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, it's very interesting that you look at what happened with him. It's very similar to what happened with Jesse Ventura, as far as kind of getting, and Randy Savage, kind of getting pulled into commentary, and being quite good at it.
Very.
All three of them, when they still had more to offer in the ring.
Yeah.
But Jesse Ventura and Taz were both on that tail end of their careers, man. Taz, ECW shortens careers, man. And I mean, I think that's just a fact when you look at Taz, especially, and that he came over to the WWF and within a year was doing commentary.
Yeah.
Because he had to have a lighter wrestling schedule. And so.
Next match we had was the Edge Regal match, which was good.
Regal is another one of those guys that should have been a world champion.
I agree.
And but I remember the two of us back in the day being so into that whole power of the punch gimmick.
It was one of the greater heel moves ever. I mean, you are such a heel that you allowed the power of your punch that was assisted with brass knuckles, you make it seem like it was a legitimate power of the punch.
Even though you got caught with brass knuckles repeatedly.
Exactly.
Like I just love that type of heel. But what have I always said about a heel? A heel always needs to be a heel, right?
Yes.
And so in every aspect of their life on screen, they have to be a heel. So I've always said, if you are a heel and you are going for a pin and you are by the ropes, you should at least make an effort to put your foot on the ropes. If nothing, even if you don't do it, even if you don't get the win, you should make an effort. If you've got a deep cover and you've got a chance to pull the tights, you should be pulling the tights.
Exactly.
A heel should always heel, unless you are a like Kurt Angle type of heel. When Kurt Angle was just was doing the Olympic hero thing, you know. I mean, granted, he did cheat, but it wasn't in his repertoire.
Exactly.
So the build to that match, though, some of the stuff in the old Attitude Era, knowing what we know now about CTE and brain health and stuff like that, watching some of those chair shots, like I think the worst one still, there's two, the Rock Ken Shamrock chair shot, that when Shamrock was on his knees and Rock knocked his head into the 15th row.
Yeah.
And when Chris Benoit goes diving out of the ring and Chris Jericho swings on him like he's a freaking baseball.
I don't know, man. That Austin chair shot during the Rumble was one of the worst ones.
Oh, well, the Undertaker ones in the Royal Rumble were pretty rough too.
They were, but I still think that the one Austin gave later, I mean, he came like full out of left field with that chair shot.
And it's so, I don't want to get into this. I could go on about this stuff with the chair shots and the head shots for days. So let's just go ahead and move on to the next match.
Trish and Jazz.
Let's just go ahead and move on to the next match.
Fourth match, street fight.
No, the Trish and Jazz match was not great. And I mean, Trish really came into her own as a wrestler. I still don't think that she was ever that good. I think she deserves her spot in the Hall of Fame for doing a lot of things that women were not doing, like main event.
Yes.
But I think Trish Stratus gets a lot more credit for carrying that division than she deserves when you consider that Molly Holly, Jazz, Victoria, Lita.
Yeah.
And Lita gets a lot of credit for carrying that division as well. But where is the love for Jazz and Molly Holly and Victoria, who were really the workhorses of that division during that era? I mean, were it not for Victoria and Molly Holly, especially, Trish Stratus would not have become the wrestler that she was.
Yes.
They and Jazz to a degree, but mostly, in my opinion, Molly Holly and Victoria, who gave Trish Stratus some of her best matches early on in her wrestling career. I still think the best match Trish Stratus ever had was her match with Stephanie McMahon in No Way Out 2001. But that she wasn't a active wrestler at the time. She was a manager.
Yeah.
So,
street fight.
Good Lord. This match was so much better than it had any right to be. And this is not even one of those examples where Ric Flair carried the match.
No.
Vince put on his work boots, and Vince is not a wrestler.
Legitimately and figuratively put on the work boots. I mean, you had the genetic jackhammer going up against sagging old man boobs.
Sagging man boobs.
Sagging man boobs. I mean,
sagging old man boobs. Yep.
That was, for not going all out crazy. I mean, we're talking like tables, chairs, kendo sticks.
So simplicity is sometimes the best thing.
It is.
They used one weapon throughout the entire match. They both got it used against them. It wound up being incorporated into the finish.
They both got color.
Why do you need more than that?
And I agree, and that's.
I'm saying, but you said for not being a match that went all out crazy. Sometimes that all out craziness is not.
It's too much.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know, and when you go into a match knowing it's going to be that all out craziness, i.e., a TLC match, then you expect it. But a street fight doesn't necessarily need to have that level. It just needs to be a street fight. And I'm sorry, but street fights don't necessarily involve chairs and tables and things like that. You know what they do involve? Somebody picking up a damn pipe and hitting somebody in the head with it.
To me, and it's just classic Flair, watching Vince just go to town, and in what looks like the last-ditch desperate measure, throws that uppercut to the nuts, causing Vince to just buckle over and Flair just go thump.
Yep.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Well, and then let's not forget to mention the fact that Vince used the figure 4 leg lock.
Which then Flair reversed.
Which I think is a masterpiece of psychology in a match like that, especially considering where they were positioned in the ring, what side of the ring Flair's kids were sitting on, and the fact that Vince had already taken the camera from Megan Flair and snapped pictures of bloody Ric Flair, which they then reversed with Megan Flair taking pictures of Vince.
Well, and you're look where this pay-per-view was.
Oh yeah.
I mean and
it's not by accident.
No, and that adds to it. I mean, we were in basically WCW's main arena. You know? So it was huge. I mean, it was a great match. And then of course Flair winning the match, submitting McMahon with the figure 4.
Which then led to the NWO angle, which led to the greatest video package that WWE's ever put together.
Still to this day.
Which led to several things that were not necessarily that good. Flair turning heel, joining the NWO somehow, or not necessarily. And then Flair, oh yeah, we're going to have a new member of the NWO tonight. That new member is going to be Booker T. Just randomly picking somebody. Booker T's like, yeah, all right, I'm in the NWO. What?
Yeah.
You know, there were literally 3 people in the WWF, WWE, that made sense joining the NWO. X-Pac, Big Show,
yeah,
and Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, but back to the Royal Rumble.
Back to the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, it's almost like we get off track sometimes. When
Never
did this start
happens.
happening?
Must be new.
From Papa John's. Apparently, I'm supposed to buy pizza today.
Oh, okay, cool. 5th match, last match before the main event, we had Chris Jericho and The Rock for the undisputed WWF Championship.
Yes. Now, I'd like to bring something up. This is what I wanted to talk about when I was doing the recap, and I decided to hold off on it.
Okay.
Was Lance Storm and Christian's interference in the match.
Okay.
Now, they were saying that it didn't make a whole lot of sense, and it's kind of funny. Do you remember the stable, the Un-Americans?
Oh yeah.
So Jericho was part of that with Christian and Lance Storm and Test and William Regal.
Okay.
Christian was kind of a fringe member, kind of like Pillman and the Hart Foundation, or not Christian, Jericho. But this would be one of the first times that stable just was coming together, and leading to a long-time partnership between Jericho and Christian as well. But and then they had been having their own issues with The Rock as well. And remember that Christian and Lance Storm were both members of the Alliance.
Yes.
That were driven out of business because of The Rock. Because The Rock is the one that got the winning pinfall against Steve Austin. So just a few little non sequiturs there.
Yeah, no, I mean this was a good match.
It was. I mean, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it was a good, solid match. I like the psychology of the match. I love the fact that Jericho cheated to win.
Sure.
Which to me just made things even better, because at that time, I mean, was there a bigger heel in the WWF than him at that point?
Other than Vince, probably not.
Yeah, exactly.
The only issue that I had was the over-the-top insistence that Chris Jericho was an extreme underdog in the match. Now, who did Jericho beat to win the Undisputed Championship?
Austin.
And?
The Rock.
Right. And at No Mercy in 2001, The Rock walked in as the World Heavyweight Championship and lost it to Jericho. It clean as a whistle. And so the fact that Jericho already had 2 wins against The Rock, that they're very unlike JR. They were never mentioned. It was just, I think this is one of the few times that you have a situation where the champion is the underdog. Where were the mentions? This is very unlike JR. Where were the mentions of the fact that Jericho had already had 2 wins over The Rock on pay-per-view. Big match situations. And
definitely.
Let alone the win against Austin. And who knows? Maybe we'll cover No Way Out. Maybe we won't at some point. But who knows if that was even mentioned? I haven't watched that show in a long time.
Yeah.
So just like this one, I hadn't watched this show in a long time.
Oh, and I also did love the stunning Terry Taylor tribute that Jericho had going. That was a good one.
He did that for a long time, and I wouldn't.
I know.
I wouldn't call that the Terry Taylor. If it was right down the middle, it would have been a Terry Taylor tribute.
When your hair's that long, it may as well be.
Yeah.
All right. Well, getting on to the main event, the 2002 Royal Rumble.
So the reason that I think that this match is so good, what are you laughing about?
I still, to this was the first Royal Rumble you and I watched together. And
second wrestling pay-per-view.
Second wrestling pay-per-view.
We had barely become friends. We'd known each other for like 4 months at this point.
And we went to Nationals for the December pay-per-view, Vengeance, and then we went back for this one.
Yep. And for several others.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. The Undertaker getting eliminated by Maven.
So that call, I'm gonna get chills right now just talking about it. That call, oh my God, Maven from Tough Enough just eliminated the Undertaker. Now, I'm going to elaborate a little further because the call is one thing, but it's everything else that goes along with it. That Tough Enough music started, Maven came out, that crowd could not have cared less about Maven. And when he eliminated look at it, dude.
I know.
Goosebumps,
no,
man.
Dude.
When he eliminated the Undertaker, that crowd exploded. And they were all, that made Maven.
I don't know about you, but to me, I don't even
out of my seat.
I don't even remember JR's line, because watching this pay-per-view, you can barely hear JR say it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And we were in Nationals, and
everybody was like, "What?"
Oh my!
I was on my seat. I jumped onto my seat,
and so I actually did not hear the oh my god, Maven from Tough Enough has just eliminated the Undertaker.
Now I brought this up last week
until you got
off the air. But was Maven eliminated from the Royal Rumble?
Okay. Yes, he was.
Okay. Yes, he was.
He was.
Now they did mention Maven has not been eliminated from somebody in the match.
Yes,
but that has never been criteria,
because they love to tout how this is a no DQ match, and at one point you had Lita, Jeff, and Matt all ganging up on the Undertaker.
Yep. And if they'd have thrown him out, the Undertaker would have been eliminated.
He would have been eliminated. I mean, we go back to the 1992 Royal Rumble where Hulk Hogan helps pull Sid basically over.
Mm-hmm. Or the 1993 Royal Rumble where the Undertaker was eliminated by Giant Gonzalez.
Yes.
Or it's 1998. Owen Hart eliminated by Triple H in China.
Yes.
It's happened several times. So Maven, he was eliminated. Now maybe and the Undertaker made a point of it to throw him back into the ring and then throw him over the top.
Yes.
Like it was done. They made a point of it.
He also made it a point to lawn dart him into a popcorn vending machine.
Yes,
too.
He sure did. And then he ate some of the popcorn, which is kind of gross considering Maven was bleeding into it and he had glass in it.
He's the dead man. What's it going to do? Kill him?
No, he was the dead man. He was the resurrected biker at this point, man.
He was. But but I did not actually hear the JR commentary until you brought the DVD home.
Now, the part of the reason that this Royal Rumble was so good was the stuff with the Undertaker and the Hardys, because this had been a storyline. So, going at Vengeance, the Hardys had a match with Lita as the special referee, and they were kind of passively feuding. Which stemmed back to Jeff insisting on doing a swanton from the top of the cage at Survivor Series, going through the table, costing the Hardys a tag championships, because it was the WCW titles at the same time, at least for that night. And so that's where that whole feud stemmed from. And then the Undertaker hit a last ride on Jeff off the stage, right? If I remember, he threw Lita off the stage too. And then he did the chair over the head slam into the ground thing on Matt, where he was taking people, he was putting the top of the chair at their throat and then bouncing it off the ground.
Yes.
And so, and this was right after the Undertaker turned heel, cut his hair off. So that was where the thing with the Hardys came from. And I think when you can incorporate storyline into the Royal Rumble, that winds up being for the better.
Yes.
Including like even in the previous year with the Royal Rumble match itself, where when it was Tommy Dreamer and Raven guys in the ring, it became a hardcore match. Which
to me was still one of the greatest things to see in a Royal Rumble. I mean, it was, we all got to the point where, yes, the hardcore championship had become a joke.
I don't know that it was a hardcore championship match at that point, but it was definitely a hardcore match. They were fighting with weapons and whatnot.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was unique to see that. For me, the reason I consider this my second favorite Royal Rumble, and it has nothing to do with the fact that Mr. Perfect came back to wrestle in it to then be fired a few months later.
Well, you know why he was fired, right?
Well, yeah, the plane ride from hell.
Yeah, but you know why he was fired, right?
Why?
Because he and Brock Lesnar were wrestling on the plane.
Yeah.
Slammed into the damn emergency.
Yeah. Oh no, they almost took the plane down. And he was drunk. So for me,
and probably coked out of his mind too.
That too.
That's what killed the man.
Yes. Now, for me, what makes this Royal Rumble the second best one ever is that the most at any point watching this entire Royal Rumble, the largest amount of wrestlers they had in the ring were only 6.
Yeah, and I was keeping track because
and same here. And that to me, you had at one point that
was early in the match.
That actually was
at the very end. Very end was
1 out. No, at the beginning. So at the hour 42 mark of the hour 42 and 57 second mark of this pay-per-view, you have Billy Gunn, you have Goldust.
Yeah,
you have
Billy, Goldust, Bradshaw was in there.
Bradshaw, Rikishi, Lance Storm, and Al Snow.
Right.
And then the Undertaker comes in, clears house, and not until towards the end do we see, I think we had 5 guys, because we had the Big Show, we had Kane, we had Kurt Angle.
That was another huge moment.
Austin.
Kane just picking the Big Show up and dumping him out of the ring.
So yeah, you had Triple H, Austin, Kane, Angle, Big Show, Perfect. So that was the second time you had 6 wrestlers. But we've had Rumbles where at one point you have 11 guys.
Which is cool.
It is.
In its own right.
But
I still would love to see, I honestly, I still would love to see a Royal Rumble match where nobody gets eliminated until the end. Like you literally have 30 guys in the ring and it's just a battle royal. And I still want to see a Royal Rumble match where somebody comes in at number 1 and never has to fight more than like 2 people at the same time. Ends up, we were talking about with Braun Strowman. That literally eliminates everyone in the match. Or close to everyone in the match.
So
could you imagine?
Oh no, I can. And that's the thing. I mean, so for me, the thing is that, you know, the majority of this Royal Rumble only had 3 to 4 guys in the ring at any time. You don't see that a lot, you know, during most Royal Rumbles. And then when you get to that final 6, the fact that final 6, every single one of them is a Hall of Famer. And the only one,
except Triple H.
Well, he will be.
He will be. Yeah.
You know, and the Big Show's not in yet.
No, but was he one of the? I don't know. He was one of the final 6. I still think it's amazing that the final 3 were Triple H, Kurt Angle, and Perfect.
Yes.
Like Perfect had no shot of winning that match.
No, but to me that was the closest to me to seeing my dream match. Between, you know, Mr. Perfect and Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
You know, that was the closest I ever got to seeing that. So the fact that
they didn't face each other on Raw after that, because I know that Perfect faced Austin after that.
I don't think he
hit Austin's chair shot rampage.
Yeah, I don't think he faced Angle. I don't remember that.
I have to bring something up. Outside of the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, is the next night on Raw was what I believe to be the greatest promo in wrestling history.
Okay.
The Beverly Hillbillies promo, dude, with Austin. Come on.
Dude. To me, it's in the top 2. I still think to this day Kevin Nash's
to be about the fans.
It was never about them.
Yeah, but I mean, can you say anything else about that promo except for that one line?
Yeah, he went off. I mean, it was you could go.
It was the best promo of his career. That's for
well, it was the best promo of his career, and you could go on to say that. I mean, it was the pipe bomb speech before the pipe bomb speech existed.
Maybe.
You know, I mean, he had to cut. You know, whether or not it was scripted or not. I mean, this came the night after
WrestleMania 18.
The biggest match in the business at that point.
Oh yeah. If you ever need any proof that The Rock really was bigger than Austin, that's it.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, Austin never hosted Saturday Night Live. Austin isn't a bona fide movie star.
Nope.
You know, I mean, The Rock is the man.
Yeah.
And
Becky Lynch is the man.
Oh,
The Rock is The Rock.
Sure.
But yeah, no. So getting back to the Royal Rumble, though, I mean, it was a unique Royal Rumble.
Razor Ramon going on, apparently. I don't know what the hell keeps happening there. It just keeps falling back into my face. I'll just keep it there.
But you know, this was a unique Royal Rumble. We did not have an overload. We did not have an overloaded ring.
No.
At any point. And to me, the matchups that you had in this Rumble, I mean, it was close to perfection.
And when you consider that it wasn't, I mean, the matchups, yes, but Undertaker cleared the ring.
Yep.
Austin cleared the ring.
Yep. You got to admit,
it's astonishing to me at this point that the Undertaker had only won one Royal Rumble at this point. Now, that the only thing was only one Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And had not won one up to that point.
Yeah.
And had been in several.
Yeah. You know, for me, one of the other funnier parts was watching when the Hurricane came in.
Oh man, I remember popping for that big time when we watched that Nationals.
The look on Austin's face to Triple H, like, what do you want to do?
Well,
what the hell's he doing here?
So,
you know, and they throw him out, and then the first thing they do is they turn around and they just go at it again.
Well, you talk about the matchups, right? And the Austin and Triple H thing. it's another thing that is very, very disheartening to me that the two-man power trip was never mentioned. The fact that these two were former tag team champions was never mentioned. And I don't know for what reason, but the fact that people would come into the ring, they'd beat the crap out of them, throw them out of the ring together, and then go back to going at each other shows how good they worked as a team, but that they were, kind of like Shawn Michaels and Diesel, good friends, but better enemies.
Mm-hmm. So, all in all, loved it. Thought it was great. Like I said, it is my second favorite Royal Rumble ever.
Match or pay-per-view?
The Royal Rumble match.
Gotcha.
It's my second favorite. For me, like I said, it goes 92, 2002.
Yeah, mine is 04 is my second favorite one. And then probably this past year, and then
this past year was really good too.
It's top 5 for me.
I'm hoping this year we see something special. I mean, largest crowd to ever see a Royal Rumble.
Yes.
Pay-per-view. Freaking kids.
God, man.
Why I put a lock on my door?
I don't have a door.
Well, that's not my fault.
Well, this is a living room. This is not supposed to be an office. So,
get yourself an office.
I'm going to as soon as I can kick one of these kids out of the house.
Build one in your garage. You got room.
Well, I do. Except we have 2 cars in there, man. I don't have room.
You literally
I got a work table and a loft and all
that. A 3 foot by like 4 foot section.
I guess I was in a closet before, wasn't I?
Come on, what the? I don't have enough room. You were in a broom closet.
Maybe I should just go in a closet.
Oh man. So, all right, guys.
The shelves out of the pantry.
So I've been picking this day in professional wrestling history segments so far, and so I'm gonna let Tristan pick, but I'm gonna give him some choices.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so your choices are.
Give me more than 2. I know we were talking about 2.
I'll give you more than 2.
And remember, that Raw that we were talking about was not from the 27th.
Yep, that was from the 20th. Okay, so here are your choices. We have the WWF airing the 25th episode of Saturday Night's Main Event. That consists of the card of Savage Duggan, Hogan and Warrior going up against Perfect and the Genius, Jake Roberts defeating Greg Valentine, Dusty Rhodes and Rick Rude, and then Dino Bravo versus Ronnie Garvin.
So a trash card except for 2 matches.
For 2 matches. The next one was the 30th edition of Saturday Night's Main Event. You have
first one on Fox.
Piper and the Mountie. You have Hogan, Sid up against Flair and Taker. Sergeant Slaughter and Jim Duggan defeating the Beverly Brothers, and Randy Savage defeating Jake Roberts.
Okay.
We could go a little bit of a different route, and this was the day that Andre the Giant passed away.
No, I think we'll pass on that one.
Okay.
That would be, I mean, we could do that career retrospective.
That's what I'm saying. We could do a career retrospective for that one.
We've never done anything like that.
So, I mean, that's a possibility. Another choice you have is WCW presenting Clash of the Champions 26.
That's a hard pass on that one. We just did a Clash.
Okay. And then, Monday night.
I'm still recording, Sherry. Dang it. Say hi to the baby. He drove away viewers last time.
You have the Monday Night Raw, in which the Tough Enough 3 winners made their debuts.
Afro Matt and Ninja John. That's a little tragic now, looking back at it, considering Matt Capitelli just died.
It is.
And never made it anywhere in wrestling because he got brain cancer.
Yep. We also have the just blanked. Baby threw me off there.
2008 Royal Rumble.
2008 Royal Rumble out of Madison Square Garden. And then we also have the Royal Rumble out of Phoenix that happened a few years ago. So it's up to you. What do you want to go with?
I think, despite what I said a little while ago, no, you know what? I'm going to go with the 2013 Royal Rumble.
Okay.
And I reason being, one, from Phoenix, two, day of the Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
So I think another Royal Rumble card is probably the best way to go. I was going to go back and do I was going to recant on my statement and do the Clash of the Champions, since we're consistently doing WWE stuff. But I would kind of like to ensure I will definitely pick next week's show,
Okay.
and I will do my best to ensure it is not a WWE show. Something available on the network, yes, but because that's the easiest access,
Of course.
we have. But yeah, we'll go with the 2013 Royal Rumble, especially since I was just talking smack about the storylines.
You can say shit. The baby doesn't understand what you say.
Yeah, but Facebook does.
Well, so what? I still call my toddler an asshole when I'm around her.
Yeah, I call him an asshole all the time.
I mean, remember, while it is frowned upon, it is not illegal to call a toddler an asshole.
No, it is not.
They are terrorists, and they deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, guys.
I call Abby a bitch all the time.
Oh, Jesus. All right, guys. Well, that's it. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Yes, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yes.
Help us increase from 2 views on our videos. Because yeah, that would be awesome. I won't go so far to call this a waste of our time if nobody's watching it, because I still enjoy doing it. It's the only time I see this fat bastard.
That's true.
But yeah, so check us out on social media. If you do want to talk to me or Mike on social media, you can find me on Twitter at Hathaway Tristan at Hathaway Tristan, and on Instagram at What is the matter with me? Tristan Hathaway 1. And you can grab Mike on Twitter with Blind Fenway, and on Instagram as LA Kings Fan 1982.
Yep.
And LA Kings Fan 1982.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that's all I got.
That's it. So guys,
maybe check out the website for WrestlingAlmanac.com. I've actually been putting a lot of work in on it. Trying to get it caught up, at least with the WWE pay-per-views and the current champions from the different companies, making sure that they're not from like January of last year.
All right. Well, it looks like Baby's giving us the 10 count. So that's it, guys. So for Tristan, I'm Mike. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you again when the bell rings.